All right, we are back with another pick'em video. Going to be talking MLB in this one, and we got tons of games happening all later in the day. So no early starts today. You should have plenty of time to, watch the video, digest what we go over. I'm ultimately going to bring you guys my top plays for the day, but we also are going to run through each individual game, talk about the pitcher matchups, talk about, particular batting lineups and maybe hit lefties or righties better, or maybe historically hit this pitcher better or worse, and just lay it out all on the screen, give you guys a ton of information to make, educational bets rather than just, having a whim or looking at the last 5 games, and just hopefully find you guys some winners today. But again, ultimately going to bring you guys my top plays probably near the end of this video or kind of throughout. And I'm also going to talk about my leans and things like that. So going to talk about a ton of stuff and, again, hopefully find you guys some winners. That's the ultimate goal here. But yeah, if you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe, leave the video a like, comment something down below. We had an awesome day in the NBA yesterday. Not only did my Celtics win, but we swept the video picks yesterday. So hopefully you guys, if you tailed that, we did a pick on PrizePicks or a slip on PrizePicks where we got a free Tatum square and we got, I don't even remember what the X is. It was like maybe a 6.5X, 7X, which would be like a plus 600 parlay. And we hit that, which is awesome. So going to ride that momentum into the MLB today. And yeah, let's just get right into it. All right, so jumping into the desktop screen here, we're going to be using a data app called Outlier. You're going to see how powerful Outlier is throughout this video, but if you want to check it out for yourself, use my link in the description down below. You're going to get a free week trial, which is awesome. And again, you're just going to see how powerful it is. I use it every single day, and it's a great way to support the channel if you do use that link. This is the Games tab. You're going to be able to see like immediate hit rates just based on like green and red. The interface is really nice here on money lines, on spread lines, on over-unders, and we're going to be breaking into the details of each game, going through, starting with the Twins and Pirates. Not sure why the Detroit and Brewers game isn't up here yet, but hopefully it updates by the time, I get to the end of this video so we can go over that. But right now we're going to be starting with the Twins and the Pirates, going into the match details, looking at pitchers and things like that, and just kind of breaking down first how I use this tool, and then we'll go quicker on the other matchups here. But let's just jump right into the match details. All right, so first game of the day or night, 6:40 p.m. Plenty of time to get bets in for the day. We got the Twins going up against the Pirates, and this one's going to be in Pittsburgh. So anyone on the right side is going to be the home team. And just a real quick interface check. We just want to let you know like what all this means, the red and the greens and the numbers, just so you know what I'm talking about for the rest of the video. I'm going to expedite this process, not going to talk about it for every single one, but essentially this is the money line up top, run line in the middle, so the spread, and then the total over-under runs line, and you can see their hit rates based on this. So Minnesota minus 120 favorites, but they've lost 3 straight games. That was all to the Yankees, so that's almost fair enough. Pittsburgh has won 2 of the last 3 games. Those are all against the Dodgers, who have been struggling offensively. Then you got the Twins struggling against the spread here. About 20% of the last 10 games they've hit. Pittsburgh a little bit better against the spread. So right off the bat, you can come in here and say, hey, I want an educational bet for the day. I guess I'll base it off the hit rates. Pittsburgh has been hitting their spread line at plus 1.5. Let me parlay that with they've been going over the over 7.5 runs line. They've been hitting that as well. So that's essentially what all these reds and stuff mean. But yeah, that's what you can get out of that. But you want to look a little bit deeper. Why is Minnesota minus 120 favorites here? And you want to be looking at the pitchers. So that's where this box comes in. You can see both starting pitchers and their stats. And then also this box is going to show us the batting average for the teams, each team, Pittsburgh and Minnesota for the entire year. Then it's going to show us versus right-handed pitching. If it was a left-handed pitcher they were facing, it would show left-handed pitching. Green means they're better against right-handed pitching. Red would mean they're worse than their normal average. And then same thing with historical data versus the actual pitcher here. So we see Mitch Keller, not a whole bunch of data. Farmer's not even in the lineup today, but not a ton to go off of here. But sometimes a guy's been up to at bat for 10 times against a certain pitcher and he's batting 700 against him. Maybe that's someone you want to look at. And then same thing for Pittsburgh. If Joe Ryan was a lefty, this should show stats against lefties. It's all color coded. So now that you know everything that's going on, we can quickly go through these games and kind of talk about it. And we're going to start with Joe Ryan versus Mitch Keller. All right, so starting off with Mitch Keller here, going to go over his stats right in the top right corner. He's got a 7-3 record, so he's been winning games when he qualifies. ERA, though, of 3.42, strikeouts per 9, 8.06, and a 1.22 whip. So pretty mediocre stats. Mediocre Mitch, if you want to call him that. But he's been getting wins, I will say that. 7-3 in his games that he's qualified for starts. Look like he's gone for 12 games. This is his earned runs line. You could also look at the outs line. You could look at the strikeouts line and see the hit rates for all those. So maybe if you see a high hit rate thing, then you want to be looking a little bit deeper. But there's plenty of different stats for the specific batting of Minnesota. and the specific batters here. So it's color-coded, so if you change, the over or the under 2.5 earned runs or whatever, it's going to change based on what you want to go to. So hey, I want to go, hey, 2.5, I want to take the under. He's been, getting it in 5 straight. I don't think Minnesota's bats are great. Let's take a look at if I'm right. So you scroll a little bit down here and you can see, okay, here's Minnesota's batting versus right-handed pitchers. And you can see it's showing up as green, 26th ranked in terms of batting average the last 30 days. They're batting 220 against righties, OBP of 295, which ranks 22nd, which is also bottom of third in the league. So you can essentially say, okay, Minnesota has not been batting great against right-handed pitching, and it's green because I'm looking at the earned runs line under for Mitch Keller. So maybe that's right off the bat something you want to be looking at. Mitch is hitting 5 straight games. Minnesota struggles offensively, especially against righties. That could be something you look at. Then you can also look at the Ks here. If you go to the Ks, the stats down here are going to change. Minnesota batting versus right-handed pitching. Now you're seeing K percentage, ball or like walks per strikeout, average OBP, WOBA, all those different things. And you can see, okay, nothing too crazy here. They're ranked 13th in the last 30 days in terms of striking out, 22.7 K percentage. So maybe nothing I want to go off of there, especially since Mitch has kind of been, hit or miss with his strikeouts line. So Mitch, maybe that earns run line looking pretty good. I could get behind him. If I'm ever looking at a earned runs line, maybe you want to be looking at fantasy score if something that, like that pops up on PrizePicks. But we can also look individually against these batters. I want to say, hey, what batters do I want to go to, if any? And you can see right here, there's not a whole lot of history here, so I wouldn't spend too much time on this. Maybe versus right-handed pitching, you see Castro's kind of bad here, 219 as opposed to his normal 254. And then also versus Mitch Keller, he's 0 for 4. So maybe comboing, a Mitch Keller over fantasy score with a Castro under hits, runs, and RBIs line or something like that, if that was available, would be something you want to look at. All right, so that's enough of Mitch Keller. Now we're going to go a little bit quicker into things and just kind of breeze over the stuff that we want to talk about, stuff that potentially gives us a little bit of an edge here. So I got his earned runs line pulled up here, 2.5, minus 170 on the under, even though he's kind of been hit or miss. But these are the stats we want to look at. His record, 4-4, ERA of 3.38. That's, a little bit better than average, I'd say. Innings pitched, 72, plenty of, data on this guy this year. Strikeouts per 9.62. That's a little bit better than average. And then a whip of 1.01. That's a little bit better than average. So, Mitch definitely a little bit better than the average Joe. But we want to take a look at the Pittsburgh bats against right-handed pitching, and they've been a little bit better. 17th ranked in terms of the last 30 days, batting 238. And then Joe Ryan's stats here, all the percentiles are green because he's a little bit better than average on all these things. His FIP being the best, 66 percentile, 3.49. So I'm not too, impressed with Joe Ryan here. Maybe you want to be looking at Ks if that matches up with, hit rates. Yeah, so the Pittsburgh bats strikeouts a decent amount, 26.9 in terms of K percentage for their bats, which ranks 28th, which is bad. And then Joe Ryan is a strikeout pitcher. So maybe if you want to go that route, his line's up at 6.5. It's probably at 6.0 on PrizePicks. So that could be some good value there. Yeah, if you wanted to go to any way for Joe Ryan, you might want to be looking at strikeouts here. And then in terms of individual matchups for the batters versus the hitter, Joe Ryan right here, again, not a whole lot of history to go off of. If you want to be looking at one guy, I think it'd be O'Neal Cruz, 297 batting average versus right-handed pitching, as opposed to his normal 244. But again, I looked through these, nothing too great in terms of hit rates or anything like that. Maybe you want to look at the K percentage versus righties. You could go that route as well. So that's Joe Ryan for us today. All right, so I know I took a lot of time on that first game, but I promise this will now be expedited. So let's look at the next game, Braves versus Nationals. Huge juice on the money line for the Atlanta Braves, minus 205 as opposed to big underdogs for Washington. 50-50 on pretty much all these lines. I don't really have a lean or anything. So let's just jump into the pitchers right now. Chris Sale going up against Jake Irving. 2 pretty solid pitchers, and I like kind of the strikeout lines for both of these guys. But let's go through Sale first. Right here, Chris Sale, ERA of 3.06. 10.91 is the strikeouts per 9, definitely a strikeout guy. And then a whip of 0.95. He's obviously one of the better pitchers in the league. You can see that in his pitching outs here. I want to go to his earned runs, though, because he's looking for a bounce back spot. 8 earned runs against the Athletics last outing after, performing extremely well before that. Let's take a look at the averages for Washington. I'll make it green just because I would probably look at the under here, even though the over is favored here. I wouldn't probably look at this line. This is not a lean for me either way. But Washington struggles against left-handed pitchers, 23rd ranked in terms of batting average last 30 days, 231 on that. OBP, slugging, all of this in the green. They've been struggling against left-handed pitching. And it also shows, versus Chris Sale specifically, they have not had great history. Not a ton of games, not a ton of at-bats, but they have struggled mightily against this guy. So the thing I want to look at is maybe, you could look at his outs like always, but you want to look at his Ks here. 6.5 for plus 110. I could definitely get behind that. It's going to be 6.0 over on PrizePicks, I believe. Yeah, right here, 6 over on PrizePicks. I think that's something that we could definitely be looking at, potentially a video pick for today. But yeah, Chris Sale here at 6.5 Ks. I would even take that probably at plus 110 because of the strikeout percentage. I forgot to show that. Last 30 days against left-handed pitching, 25th in terms of strikeouts. And you know Chris Sale, 92nd percentile in Ks percentage. And then the other side of the mound, we got Jake Irving here pitching for the Nationals. He's got an ERA of 3.39, 7.83 strikeouts per 9, and then a whip of 1.01. But you see this popping up because he already pitched against this team, and he pitched really well. Didn't give up a single earned run, and he struck out a ton of batters, 10 strikeouts in this one. So he's another guy I could potentially start looking at strikeouts for. Probably be 5.0 over on PrizePicks, and he's done it pretty well the last few games here. So that's something to look at if you want to look at the K percentage for this team, for the Atlanta Bats. 17th ranked, so middle of the road, 23.2% K rate right there. And then individually, specifically against Jake Irvin, again, nothing too crazy. Some of the guys do have a decent batting average, 400 for Austin Riley here. Right-handed pitching, he also hits a little bit better than his normal average, but he's also struck out a lot of these guys. Austin Riley, when he didn't get a hit, he struck out here. So another reason I'm kind of leaning strikeouts on this one for Jake Irving. Maybe go both of them, 6.0 and 5.0 for both these pitchers, and maybe look at the over there. All right, so moving along, 6:50 start for the Orioles and the Rays in Tampa Bay. The Baltimore Orioles are favorite, minus 115 on the money line, Tampa Bay plus 100. You could convince me to get to Tampa Bay's side. The only thing is, I mean, Cole Irving is definitely the better pitcher between him and Savall. But, I mean, we both have history. They both played each other so far this year. So Cole Irving has pitched against the Rays. Savall has pitched against the Orioles. So we're going to look at that. But, I mean, I don't mind potentially going to Tampa Bay money line, or at least maybe, you have to pay some juice, but maybe the spread line. I don't know if I'm getting there. But potentially money line for the Rays to get some plus money there. But let's go into Cole Irving here. Head-to-head, his earned runs are low. Let's take a look at the under here just because he's been hitting it under. But versus Tampa Bay was his last start, and he only gave up 2 earned runs. So that's some good news right there. The thing I don't love about Cole Irving here is Tampa Bay has been hitting left-handed pitchers pretty well. 12th ranked the last 30 days, 7th ranked on the season, which is pretty solid. And then Cole Irving against these guys gave up a decent amount of hits to them. If you check it out, 8 hits. He did only equate for 2 earned runs. But again, if they get 8 hits again, they bat this guy around. You see the green in the lineup for Tampa Bay here. So specifically Yandy Diaz, maybe going to Rosario, maybe stacking those 2 batters. I think they got a pretty good chance here. 333 and 12 at-bats, 2 RBIs for Diaz. And then Rosario, 6 at-bats, batting 667 with 1 RBI. But they both get better. 328 for Rosario against left-handed pitching, and Diaz 274 against left-handed pitching this year. So both guys better against left-handed pitching. I don't mind stacking those 2 batters potentially going up against Cole Irving. And again, if you want to take the Tampa Bay Rays in this spot, it'd probably be because of those guys having some good nights. Then let's go to Savall real quick. We got his ERA pulled up right here. Again, oddly enough, his last start was also against the opposing team here. We got the Orioles, and he only gave up 1 earned run. I don't think he gave up a ton of hits. He gave up 6 hits in that, so decent amount of offense in this one. I don't know what the over-under, 8.5, so maybe you can convince me about that 8.5 if you want to just do that. But yeah, you can see the bats for Baltimore. 13th ranked in the last 30 days versus right-handed pitching. They've been mediocre. They've been probably pretty good because Adley Rutschman, I know, has been really solid. But he struggles against Savall, 167 and 6 at-bats, 242 against right-handed pitching. Also takes a little bit of a hit. But people have had success. Mountcastle, who bats third in this lineup, 667 and 9 at-bats, 2 bombs. If you want to be looking at Mountcastle, that could be something you get behind. So as I'm kind of looking through this, maybe the way to go with this game is, you could take Tampa Bay, I think. I think you could go over the runs line. And again, maybe take, Yandy Diaz, maybe take Rosario. And then the other side of things, you're looking at Mountcastle, who's got some pretty good history and hits righties, not too much worse than his normal average. It's turning red just because it's a little bit worse. But yeah, 3 batters in this one that I kind of like. And again, the over runs line could be something as well. All right, so moving along to the Dodgers and the Yankees here. I'm surprised the Dodgers are minus 135 favorites here, plus 120 for the Yanks on the money line. I mean, I think sign me up. They're the best team in baseball right now. Dodgers have been struggling offensively. This team has had no struggles offensively. And the pitcher matchup's interesting to me, but I don't think it's anything too crazy. Little Poteet versus Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers, who obviously has been good. But let's just jump into it. I mean, again, Yankees on the money line, I don't mind that really at all. And let's kind of get into why I don't mind backing the Yankees in this spot. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers, who, again, kind of a fun name to say, but also been having a really good year. You see his ERA 3.32, 10.52 in terms of strikeouts per 9. That's a lot, but the Yankees don't strike out too much. And then his whip is 1.12. But he's been giving up a decent amount of hits. You see his earned runs kind of creeping up a little bit the last few games as well. But yeah, the hits are there. 7, 6, and 7 the last 3 starts for him. And you see the Yankees, number 1 against right-handed pitching, 272 batting average. You see the hard percentage here at 36.1. That's ranked 3rd in the lead. So, hey, if you're giving up 7 hits to the Yankees, some of those might be out, especially considering looking how they've been doing against right-handed pitching. So, no specific data against Yamamoto here, just because he hasn't faced these guys. But you see the big bats here. Judge, 293 against righties. Verdugo, 265 against righties. You see Stanton, 248 against righties. You see Volpe, 294. Soto's 316. He's showing up as red. His normal batting average is 318. So, 316. That's amazing. So you just see all these guys batting, crushing righties. And again, it's just tough for me to back a guy when he's going up against the Yankees and he's a right-handed pitcher. On the other side of things, we're not going to be able to look too far into him, but it's little Poteet. 2.46 ERA, which is great. Only 11 innings pitched, so you got to put that caveat in there. 8.18 strikeouts per 9, and then a .91 whip. So in terms of the numbers, he is the better pitcher here too. So I don't mind the whatever that was, plus 120 juice for the Yankees money line. I mean, kind of sign me up there if you want to get a little bit more, conservative here. Plus 1.5, looking like a minus 135, bet over on ESPN bet. So yeah, Yankees I would take probably here. And then I will add, if you want to go to the Yankees here, stacking hitters on the Yankees has been a pretty good method the past 2 weeks or so. So if you want to go that route on something like PrizePicks, that's always a good idea as well. All right, so next up, we got the Cubs and the Reds here. I'm definitely favoring the Reds in this one. I wouldn't mind going money line. I wouldn't mind going the runs line at minus 1.5 if you want to go really crazy with it. Plus 175 juice on that, so you're getting some plus money. But I'm definitely backing the Reds in this one. They've won 5 straight. I like their pitcher a little bit better, and their offense looks way better than the Cubs right now. So yeah, that's kind of my lean on in terms of that game. Let's just jump right into the pitchers, though. Nick Lodolo on the mound for the Reds. He just faced the Cubs, too. He allowed 2 earned runs. They won that game 5-2, so that's music to my ears. And he's also going up against a Cubs team that is ranked 25th in terms of the last 30 days in batting average. You see the OBP also down, slugging percentage, everything down towards the bottom of the league. So that's music to my ears if I'm trying to back the Reds in this one. And then you look individually against Lodolo, not much going on other than I will say I might play Bellinger just because he's got good history against this guy and he crushes lefties. This would be in a separate slip. But Bellinger, 3 at-bats, 667, so that's nothing crazy, but he's 2 for 3 against him. But against lefties, 333 batting average, 1 home run, and 9 RBIs this season in 63 at-bats, as opposed to his normal 258 batting average. So I think Bellinger has a 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs line. That could definitely be something I'm leaning towards, but I think Lodolo gets this win and the Reds get the win. Let's look at the Justin Steele side of things, who is the pitcher for the Cubs in this one. Forgot to mention the ERA and everything like that, but Lodolo's whip, 0.99, under 1, innings pitched 46, strikeouts per 9, 9.52, and a 3.11 ERA. But Steele, on the other side, 4.1 ERA. He's innings pitched around 40 innings. He's got a decent amount of history on us for this season. 8.68 strikeouts per 9, 1.21 whip, a little bit worse than Lodolo. So that's looking good. You see his fantasy score. He's been gone under this a lot so far this season. So I think it's a great opportunity to look at Steele, look at some batters on the Reds who have been really hot. And it's, again, music to my ears to see Stevenson, 615 and 13 at-bats against Steele specifically. That's insane. 1 home run, 6 RBIs. Even Candelario, you could, match up Fairchild, Steele, all these guys hitting him pretty well or better than their normal average. And then against lefties, you see it again. Stevenson a little bit worse than his normal average. Nothing crazy. 265 and 264. So I still like him in that spot. Candelario better against lefties. You see again, Fairchild better against lefties. Steer better against lefties. So that little stacking opportunity with the Reds lineup, who's been really hot, I don't mind at all. I wished Elliot De La Cruz was a little bit better against lefties, but he's not, and he also has a bad history against Steele, so maybe stay away from him. But anyone else in the top of the lineup for the Reds looking really good. Maybe, again, under fantasy score for Justin Steele, and then go to some over hits, runs, and RBIs or hits props for the Reds players. All right, so moving along to the Guardians and the Marlins here, 7:10 p.m. start. I'm back and forth in this one. It's tough for me to get a lean. I think I'm leaning towards Cleveland here at the minus 120, but I've multiple times I've been over on Miami's side. So let's just take a look at these pitchers right now. We got Ryan Weathers going up against Logan Allen, who's looked horrible. Ryan Weathers got a 3.41 ERA, bunch of innings pitched, 8.39 strikeouts per nine. A few good strikeout games, especially recently. Yeah, 11 Ks in his last start. So that's something interesting. But Cleveland typically isn't a great strikeout team, a team that doesn't strike out too much, but they've been middle of the road. So if you want to be looking at 4.5 strikeouts for Ryan Weathers, maybe ride that train. I wouldn't mind that. But let's go back to his stats right here. So his ERA, we already talked about. His WHIP, 1.11. So that is definitely the edge over Logan Allen, who's a 5.83 ERA so far this year. He's been horrible. 7.82 strikeouts per nine, less strikeouts, and a 1.55 WHIP. So with all that said, why am I slightly leaning Cleveland's side in this one? Well, it really comes down to the on-base percentage for me. Cleveland batting 231 against left-handed pitching. That ranks 22nd in the league the last 30 days. But their OBS, their on-base percentage, is 329, which ranks 8th. So they're getting base runners. They just got to capitalize on those base runners to come out here and actually get the win. As opposed to going into Logan Allen's page here, I mean, again, looks horrible. Earned runs have been all over the place. It's tough to back this guy as I keep looking into it. But you look at the stats for Miami, they haven't been much better. Bottom half in the league in all of these averages versus left-handed pitching. So I'm giving the nod probably to Cleveland's side of things. Again, he has been super bad, but I mean, looking at last season, he was much better. So maybe if that Logan Allen comes to show up, then, Cleveland's looking pretty good in this scenario. In terms of averages specifically against, let's go back to Ryan Weathers. Specifically against Ryan Weathers, I mean, a few guys batting him pretty well. I mean, Jake Berger, if you want to look at the under for Jake Berger, especially if we're back in Cleveland in this scenario, that could be an interesting spot if you want to go to Logan Allen fantasy score or something like that and, stack it with a Jake Berger under. I don't mind that. He struggles mightily against left-handed pitching, 173 batting average against lefties and then 125 batting average specifically against Logan Allen. And then the other side of things for the batters on Miami, not Miami, we want to go to Cleveland this time. There isn't a ton to go to, but it's good to see, Jose Ramirez 2 for 2 against Ryan Weathers, and he's 333 batting average against left-handed pitching. So maybe you want to go to add Jose Ramirez in that parlay or something like that. So I think I like Cleveland in this one. It's kind of back and forth. Both pitchers are not amazing, especially Logan Allen. But yeah, that's how I'm going. All right, so moving along to the Giants and the Rangers here, 8:05 start, and we see a whole bunch of red on the San Francisco side of things. They haven't been able to win many games lately. Last 10 games, they've only won 30% of them. Last 10 games, they've only won 20%, or they've only covered 20% of this spread at minus 1.5. With all that said, though, I'm definitely backing the Giants. I don't trust the Rangers' offense at all. They're pretty much last in every statistical category you can get your hands on. And at the same time, I like the pitcher better for the Giants than the Rangers. And let's take a look at that because I think it's pretty interesting here. Bear with me on this explanation because I think we might go a little bit in depth, but you're really going to understand, I think, why I'm going to the Giants on this one. So let's take a look at the two pitchers. Michael Lorenzen for the Rangers, 2.96 ERA, 7.24 strikeouts per nine, and a 1.17 WHIP. Comparing that to Logan Allen, who's on the other side for the Giants, almost identical numbers. So in terms of analytics, let's throw those guys out the window. Now it's going to come down to the offenses. On the surface of the things, both the pitchers look the same almost. So let's look at the hitters. Let's look at some batting. San Francisco, right-handed pitching. Last 30 days, they rank 7th, 257 in batting average. They don't strike out either, 18.1% K percentage, that's ranks 3rd. Compare that to the Rangers, who, like I mentioned earlier, are literally dead last in almost every statistical category against right-handed pitching. So, okay, now it's looking like a big advantage for the Giants. Can we get a little bit deeper? Can we get, a little bit of an edge here? Can we choose one of these pitchers to get an edge? And I think we can. So let's look at Michael Lorenzen again. Go to his batting average against 203. That's 86th percentile. That is pretty freaking good. But is there a discrepancy? Does he pitch better against righties or does he pitch better against lefties? It's a little bit better one way. The Giants have a lot of righties at the beginning of their lineup and a lot of lefties at the end of their lineup. So mostly righties in this lineup, though, and it's all at the top of the lineup. Yes, the answer is yes. And let's look how interesting and wild it is. Estrada is a right-handed batter for the Giants. He's also got a pretty good history against Lorenzen too. So let's take a look at Estrada. And on this page, we can see specifically right-handed batters against Lorenzen. Look at the difference here. In 113 batters faced, ERA turns from 2.96 to 5.61. Batting average against goes from 0.203 to a 303 batting average against. Gets absolutely smoked by right-handed pitching. And again, the top of the order for the Giants is mostly right-handed pitching. Now let's go to the Yastrzemski, who is a left-handed batter. He bats more towards the back of the lineup. Left-handed batting, 0.62 ERA and a .09 batting average against. I thought that was interesting. I might have been talking about it too much. But yeah, absolutely wild how well he pitches against lefties and how horribly he pitches against righties. And the reason I'm taking the Giants is because I like the right-handed bats at the top of the lineup for him. So that was my tangent on why I'm taking the Giants. But yeah, Lorenzen might get smoked. And then real quick, let's take a look at Logan Webb. Fantasy score is at 29.5. I don't mind looking at that over, especially if we think the Giants are going to win this thing. He's hit it in 62% of games. He did face these guys last year, and he got over that. Take that with a grain of salt. But you do see the batting averages against Logan Webb. A lot of red here, especially like Semien. I could see you stacking, if you take the fantasy score over Logan Webb, I could see you stacking Semien's maybe under, maybe Garcia's under. He's 0 for 4. And also both these guys get worse against right-handed pitching, especially Semien 224 as opposed to his normal 264, and Garcia 203 as opposed to his normal 223. So both those guys, bad history against Logan Webb, and also a bad history against right-handed pitching so far this year. And let's not forget how bad the Rangers have been. 30th ranked in pretty much everything, last in everything in terms of right-handed pitching going up against it. That's a good thing for the fantasy score also. I also want to quickly mention Estrada, kind of a guy that I would mention quickly, but 506 at-bats against Michael Lorenzen, right-handed pitching. He also gets a little bit of a boost. He's got a 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs line over on Underdog, and that's like minus 130 juice right now. So getting a pretty good getting a pretty good price for Estrada over here on Underdog. Now, unfortunately, I gave myself a 1 p.m. cutoff. It's now 1:09. So that's going to be it. I went through 8 games. I want to eventually be able to get through all of them in a timely manner. I just spent so much time deep diving that I need to expedite my process a little bit. If you're new around here, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've watched the channel, missed a few of the last videos, I'm trying to break down all the games just to give you guys a ton of information so you can like almost go to things that I might not even mention just by seeing it on the screen. And I do, again, like to mention a lot of different things. But, with baseball, it can be volatile. A guy can smoke 3 bombs practically to the warning track and end up going 0 for 4 in the night, even though he was 10 feet away from a home run, essentially. So giving you guys my top 3 picks is always a good idea, and that's what I'm going to do right now. But also, just giving you guys a ton of information so you can ultimately decide is another good way to do it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know it's a longer video, especially when I get through all of the games. Again, I just need to expedite my process so I can talk a little bit about it, a little bit quicker. But let's go to some plays we talked about. This is not the only plays we talked about. We talked about a ton of different stuff. We talked about money lines, spreads, leans on those different things. Everything I was like, oh, I think I like this. That's not an official pick by me, but they're just ideas that I had and ways that I was kind of leaning. But in terms of like official video picks, I know you guys like those. So we got Mitch Keller over 32.0 fantasy score. Cody Bellinger, I like hits, runs, and RBIs. He's been hitting that pretty well, and I really like his matchup. In terms of the pitcher, Logan Webb at 29.5 pitcher fantasy score. Nice little combo with Adolis Garcia under his hitter fantasy score. I love comboing plays because I'm taking a tiny bit of a hit here, and these correlate really well. So those would be like the official video picks, but again, we talked about a ton of different information, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And if you are at this point in the video, I think you'll have a lot of fun in our Discord community. That's where we're going to be talking about plays for all the other types of games, any like esports, WNBA, soccer, anything else that's going on, and also the later slate of games that I didn't get to talk about in this video. But there's a lot of like-minded people in here. We're always talking sports, talking props, talking plays, and just a lot of fun. So you can check out the link in the description of this video. It's a Dub Club link, and you sign up through Dub Club, and then you you link your Dub Club account to your Discord account, and that's how you get in here. That's how you get the automatic entry or access. But you can also get in here for plenty of ways for free. PrizePicks, Underdog, Chalkboard, Sleeper, Dabble, they're all partners of the channel. Also DG Fantasy. They're going to give you 100% deposit matches when you sign up for these. These are my favorite DFS platforms. Chalkboard's been incredible lately. Underdog has been giving us discounts left and right. I think they have a discount up right now that I didn't even show you guys. Yeah, discount for Kyrie Irving, 0.5 points. Obviously, he's going to get that. They're throwing their money around. They want the competition, and it's a great time to be a sports bettor because they all want us to be on their platforms. And that's, when you're a smart bettor, you can take advantage of the discounts. You can take advantage of the free squares to try to be profitable in the long run. And that's what we're doing in the Discord, always mentioning, hey, discount over here, free square over here, good boosted play over here. So that's why you want to be on multiple platforms, and it's a great way to get into the Discord for free. Also, any of the tools, they got free trials or discount codes or anything like that. You can check out my links in there as well. So that's a great way to support the channel. That is going to do it for me. I'm going to get this video out for you guys. Again, I apologize for not going through all of them, but I do want to get this out so at least some people see it. But yeah, super excited about the games, obviously, tonight. Basketball was awesome yesterday. Go watch that video just to kind of soak in some success if you want to do that, just because we went 4-0. Pat myself in the back, I guess. But yeah, I'm done. I'm rambling. Is there anything else? Like the video, comment something down below, and subscribe if you are new. If you got to this point of the video, you have to subscribe. Come on. I'll see you guys tomorrow or in the Discord if you're in there. Peace out.